Good morning and welcome to another video. I've just started fishing. This isn't where I'm heading for, I'm heading over the hill. But I thought I'll have a cast here on the way past and see how we go. So I just give it a wee throw. Just quickly here, I'm not going to stay here too long. I've come out today and I might even stay for my lunch. This year has been truly remarkable. I have never known a year like it. The rain that should have hit us last night, we got a wee drop of rain out of it and then it headed off to rain all night on the west coast of Scotland. I mean, the rain's literally sat only about 20 miles from us all night, but we saw some rain, but we've basically seen no lift in the rivers again. This is my third week here and I think I fished one full day. Everything else has just been an hour here or there, you know, because it's just, I never remember anything like it, you know. So I come out for trout. Cool day, to be honest, but the season's nearly over, so you've got to make the best of what you've got. Plus there's probably no sense at all, really, putting the effort into salmon. So I think I'll move over the hill to the loch I'm headed for. With being rather unfit, I have a few wee sit downs on my way out, and then it won't be long until I reach a wee pile of rocks and I can have a cup of tea, I think. So a bit of an adventure and a walk, if nothing else. So I may try and get behind those wee rocks up there to give me a spot to make some tea. We'll see how that goes as a plan. Maybe they're not very comfortable rocks. It's always hard to tell. The tea making process required a change of gas canister mid-boil, so it was just as well I had a spare with me. I'm going to sit here and have a wee cup of tea, take in the view. Unfortunately, the rock I've picked to sit on's a bit damp. There's like that woolly fringe moss at the back of it, and I think it must have held the water a bit. So the water's of course running across the rock, leaving me rather damp in the nether regions. I'm also hearing lots of airplanes. With this being the autumn, there's military exercises on here pretty much all the time. There've been lots of weird things going about, drones and all sorts of stuff. So, well, that adds to the entertainment, I suppose. Unfortunately, it's not adding much to the fishing success. I can also hear the rumble. You probably can't hear it, but the rumble's actually the sea. I know we're a goodly distance from the sea, but you hear this low frequency rumble all the time in lots of places in Lewis, especially because it's been quite windy. So there's quite a big swell running, quite a big wave coming onto the coast. So even when you come out here, don't know what distance we are from the sea. I mean, it's not a huge distance, but we're 2 or 3 miles maybe. You can still, just if you listen carefully, and I'm sure you can't hear it in the GoPro, but if you listen carefully, you can hear this like rumble. Here's my wee loch, and if you've watched my videos you'll have seen it before. It doesn't produce big trout or many of them, but I like it just, you know. But I don't think anybody else bothers to fish it, because why would you walk out here for wee trout, you know? But they're nice wee trout, colourful, you know. So I'll take up residence here in the disused shieling and see if I can move a wee fish. I don't know, it feels pretty cold. Maybe I'll go along that way, though. My recollection is it's quite weedy. I always fish this bank, see, to my left here, because I think that's best, though there's weed out there as well. But this far corner, my recollection is it's extremely weedy, quite hard to fish. But I may go over and take a look. Not do any harm to explore a bit, you know. So down to my wee house. It's of the highest quality, as you can see. Good workmanship, especially when you consider there's probably been nobody in it in 100, maybe more years. I make tea in it quite regularly, so I'm the only visitor really. There's been sheep or deer or somebody in it, but that's about it. Right, I'll take a wee bladder out and see if I can't get a wee fish. And looks pretty cold and dismal, doesn't it? Let me see if the deer are here. Sometimes the deer are here. Don't see them today. Eyesight isn't what it used to be, though. And that was a fish, would you believe? It might be the only fish, unfortunately, we'll see all day. I replaced the teal and black with a goat's toe, just because the fish in here tend to, I don't know, they tend to move to more colourful flies, I think. So we'll try the goat's toe on them. Oh, yeah. And a fish on the goat's toe. A decent colourful wee fish. There we go. Oh, lovely wee fish for a loch like this. I like I say, I like this loch. Doesn't make big fish. This is the best you can hope for. But as you can see, they're feisty wee fellas. So I'm going along the bank in this direction. Like I say, this direction is usually shallow and weedy, so it's not normally the direction I go in, but sure, that's all the more reason to go this way, I suppose. And I know the fish do lie in close on this loch, so maybe they're in here, you know. So we'll give it a wee throw. Oh, I've got a message. Yes. I'm like Inspector Clouseau. Got lots of messages. This is the wee burn that drains the loch, and you can see it comes scooshing out there, and then it like disappears, and you can barely see it under the heather and peat. There's a wee drop here, and you can see stony bottom, you know. So I don't know whether it provides spawning for the trout or not, whether it's adequate. I've no real clear idea on that, but it's a nice wee burn, you know. Good place to get water for tea, I suppose. But we'll move along a wee bit. Oh, there was a wee fish jumped right out of the water, way out there. I'm never going to reach it, but nonetheless, jumped out of the water. I've seen a fish. You can see what I mean about this being very shallow and weedy. I mean, once you come into here, and I can see stones under the surface pretty far out, basically as far out as I'm casting, you know. So come along another wee bit further for another wee cast, and again it appears very shallow in here, but the weeds kind of stop. Whether that means it's deeper, or maybe that means it's not deep enough for the weeds even. How do you know? So back round to my wee house, and I think I'm starting to feel peckish. I think what I'll do is I'll have a few more casts along here, and then I'll call it lunchtime, I think. So what I'll do is I'll take a wee splash along here quickly, just for 10 minutes, and then I'll stop for some lunch. Seems like a plan. Just a few quick casts off this wee point before I turn and work my way back to my little house for lunch. Before I eat my lunch, I'm going to have a wee cup of tea here, just sit and watch the world go by. The weather doesn't seem to know what to do. The big black clouds are coming. I put on the waterproofs just in case, and then the sun comes out. Well, I don't know what will happen next. Maybe it'll snow. I've had my lunch and it's come on a wee light shower rain. Now it looks much darker out there than it does over here, so I think somebody's getting a bit heavier than me, so I can't really complain. So come on, a bit of rain, and the eagle's just gone past. Maybe he's seen a wee bright spot because he doesn't like getting wet, so he's maybe seen a brighter spot and thought he could avoid the showers. I don't know. But it was good to get a wee taste of lunch. I thought I would stop here and show you this just a way along. You see, there appears to be what, I don't know, in geology they might call, is it a raised beach they call them? When the sea level has changed or the land has risen, I think, is that more the case? I think it's when the land rises as the wet ice comes off it. But you see here, it goes right along. We have a raised beach here as well, suggesting to me that this was originally in the loch. Now, you know, I don't know how much of that's peat. Obviously, if we could look at how much peat had formed, we could make an estimate of how long ago this happened. Because I've no idea, maybe something blocked up the burn or something, you know. And it's possible there is another raised beach further back, or, you know, another old bank. But nonetheless, it looks likely to me that in not recent times, but relatively recent times, this loch has dropped by, you know, a couple of feet. Maybe just because the burn has, you know, the outflow has dropped, and so the level of the loch has dropped. But it's not been very recent. But be interesting to find out how long ago it happened, I suppose. Maybe I'll bring a spade and dig up and see how much peat we have under all this. It's definitely, you know, it's definitely 6 or 8 inches there. Peat formation is It's not constant, and so there would be no definites, but it's often estimated to be about a millimetre a year, because peat formation is, well, it's the preferred way to measure it isn't in terms of depth, but in terms of the sort of accumulation of plant material. So it wouldn't be very scientific, but it might be interesting to see, because almost certainly, as you can see, we still have the old banks here. Almost certainly this loch dropped by 2 feet, 3 feet maybe, some many years ago. Oh, that was a fish, because I saw it. Oh. Tiny wee doubler. Ah, wee fish. He came twice. Oh. There is a wee weed bed out there, so it could just be that I'm plucking it. But it felt like a wee fish. Another wee fish. Onto the goats too this time. Oh, wee fish. Oh, come here. I rocked out here to have a quick cast before I start the walk for home, and first cast hooked a wee fish. Entirely by luck, of course. So there we fish. There we go. This one's a wee bit darker than some of the others. Stay there and we'll let you go. But a lovely wee fish nonetheless. Got a bit of a weird rainbow thing going on out in front of me. all sorts of weird things happening in the sky today. So I think I'll kind of call it quits here and start walking for the next loch over. Because it is quite a walk, you know, and the day's moving on. And really, I've had, I don't know how many fish I've had, but you know, 4 or 5 out of here. And that's kind of 4 or 5 more than I expected, to be fair, you know, because with the cold wind and whatnot, it's not always ideal conditions for trout. But we'll see. I'm going to make my way back over the hill here, and if I stop at the other loch for a cast, then I'll maybe add a wee bit to the video, and if I don't, then that'll do me for the day, I think. He ran towards me, so I had to kind of back off a bit. Nice enough wee fish for this loch. These fish are all tending to fight as I bring them in, rather than fighting out there. I'm going to try and untangle everything. Oh, come here. Is that him? That's him untangled. So there you go, another nice wee fish for this loch. And back he goes. And away Sally's a bit stunned as to what has just happened. So I think that'll do me for here. As I was saying, I'm going to start and walk for the next loch over, and I might as well do it having caught a wee fish. I think that wraps us up for another day. And it's been, I think, really only my second full day out. And I was pleased enough to get a few trout under fairly tricky circumstances. It's a cold day, you know, so pleased enough about that. And I'm going to head for home and some food, I think. Sounds like a plan, doesn't it?